So folks, we're back. Change the oil on this, change the oil on the compressor. Before you jump down my throat, the Reliant will get done. If I hadn't had this work to do, we would have done it last week. But I'm afraid I have to put my main job before my toys. And I thought you guys, some of you might have one of these. This is a 19.5 horsepower Intech engine. And I'm going to show you how to just let the oil out and basically change the air filter. It's really simple stuff, but some of you may not know. And we're going to change the oil on this compressor. She's all warmed up. We've just got her up to 150. That blow-off valve hasn't closed off. And this is all warmed up. So we can be letting the oil out of these and see how things go. So first thing we've got to do is take this plastic cover off so we can actually get to the oil. Well, you can get to it without, but it's easier if you take that off. Let me get some tools and we'll be back. Welcome to the man cave. Let the games begin. So, this side panel is held on with one bolt under here. So we take this bolt out and then that will slide up. There's no bolts down this side, it lifts up. So let me get that bolt out and we'll get this cover off. And you can see exactly what's going on. So it's 8mm. Right, where is it? She's under here somewhere. There we go. So you can change the oil without taking these off, but for the sake of one bolt, it's so much easier just to take this cover off, as you'll see when we get to it. Alright, there we go. There's our 8mm bolt and washer. And then this cover, just lift upwards, look. That lift up and off. It's on elongated holes and these two locators. That easy. And there is our drain bung. As you'll see, these are quite an unusual drain bung because they're not like a nut. Right, let me get my container to catch the oil and we'll go from there. Right, first thing is wipe this plastic cover down and then you'll see what sort of fitting that is. And it also doesn't hurt if you lift the other side of the mower up a little, so that's tilting this way. So let me just get that lifted up a little bit. We'll just lift her up a little bit on this other side, so that's tilting this way a little, then the oil will run out better. Let me do that. Right, the mower's now tilted that way. These little bungs for the oil, you'll see it's got like a pattern in there, so you don't need no spanners. You just push in, twist and pull out, and there we go. Here comes our oil, nice and easy like that. You can undo your dipstick if you want to vent it. There we go. And we've got an oil filter on the other side, will do as well. Right, I'm going to have to put this back in and empty my oil pot because my oil pot's nearly full. Right, we'll get this oil out and then we'll get on. You don't want to see me get all that oil out of there. Back in a minute, guys. So next thing we're going to do, now we've got our oil all out, put our little bung back on and do him up. There we go. We can now put the mower flat and then we need to blow that engine off and change the air filter. So let me just get my prop tool out. There we go. She's flat again. Don't put your cover back on yet because you want to make sure once you put the new oil in that it don't leak. So what I want to do now is blow this engine off because there's a lot of dust and crud on it. And before you go filling up with oil, this all ought to be clean. round your thing, your bung, then you'll see right. You've probably noticed there that I blew around everywhere, because basically you want to check things, battery, posts, I mean, this is a pretty decent mower, but you still need to give it a good service. You still need to be thorough with it. Alright. Off camera, during my edits, I did spin another oil filter on there, because you got an oil filter, and I did put a spark plug in down there. But they're easy, you don't want to see them change. They're just screw on, screw off things. So we've got an oil and filter and the plug. Now we need our air filter. Lift up. That goes back. That comes forward. And here is an air filter. I've seen worse, but we're going to replace it anyhow. I mean, that looks good that side, but it is a bit dirty if you look in there. So we will replace that anyhow for what they cost. There is a pre-filter in these as well. You don't necessarily need to replace that, but it do need blowing out. So just get your airline and give that a blow. There you go. That's all it needs. That's absolutely fine. So that can now go back in there, and then we'll get our new air filter. Here's our new air filter. There we go. Look at that. That's how they should look. So let's get him in. That should just sit in there like so. There you go. See, that's in. Close that up. There you go. That is your air filter changed. And just give the engine a good little wipe down. Get all the dust off it. Also, cast your eye when you're servicing these, in these blower shrouds, in this fan housing. Cast your eye in there. Make sure there's no debris, leaves. Let me show you. I mean, I can see through, and I can actually see daylight through the bottom there. I can see daylight through the bottom here. Yeah, I can see daylight through there. So that's not blocked up in there. Sometimes in dusty, dirty conditions, these can get full, and they can actually draw leaves, debris and grass in, block up the coolant fins in the head, and then the engine will overheat. Eventually it could even sort of blow head gaskets and stuff like that. So it is worth checking in there. I mean, I know this mower, and it's well looked after. It's serviced every year, so I would pretty much know the history of this mower, and it's well looked after. It's good. So taking this off to check under there isn't really necessary, because I know the type of use it gets, and they're good owners. But we still blow it out. We don't need to take it off. But we do want to blow out the blower shroud. There we go. That is basically it. We've just got to put the engine oil in. So, what oil do we put in this thing? Briggs & Stratton SEA 30. You can just use normal car oil, but when I'm doing decent customers mowers like this, I tend to put the genuine oil in. So you'll want about 2 of these to do that, but you won't want all 2 in. You'll want about 1.5 of these. So let's get this oil in here. Remembering we've got to fill the filter up as well. Yeah, we're about half on there. We'll give that a second to settle, and then we'll give that a check. Right, that's been left about a minute to settle in there, so let's check this oil level now. Make sure we're on the full mark, or thereabouts. So 1.5 normally get these about right. Oh yes, I don't know whether you can see that, but we're just on the top of the full mark. Yep, see the oil level there? Top of that dot? Well, them dots is where your full level is. So we're bang on the top. Bearing in mind that will go down a tad once I start it and the filter fill up. Because you can't pre-fill them filters because they go in there sideways. Right, let's just check around the machine for leaks. And I'll show you the greasing points. Of course, there are some greasing points on this. We ain't got no leaks around our cap. The cap is on there strong and tight, so we can put this cover back on now. Greasing points on each wheel spindle. There we go. You have a grease nipple on that one there. On the front wheel spindle. Turn up the other lock. And you have one on there as well. I did them the other day. As you can see, there's grease coming out the bottom of them. Pop your grease gun on, give them a few pumps. And that's basically what there is to it. Obviously, I've already done the cutter deck on this. We did that last week. So this basically is service. Just got to check the tyre pressures. Make sure the tyre pressures are all right. So we'll check the tyre pressures. Have a quick go over the machine. But when I had the deck off, I checked underneath. And we did replace the cutter deck belt because that had a notch out of it where it had jumped off and damaged it. And I checked the drive belt for the transmission. That's absolutely fine. So yeah, all we've really got to do is give things a little check over. But everything looks good on it. All the safety systems still work on it. Everything's all still connected. Nothing's been changed. Do our headlights work? I think so. Yep, we've got headlights that work, so yep, she's good. That's just a case now of a little, a little check over tyre pressures. So I've done the oil filter, I've already put a fuel filter in, I've done a spark plug, and we've done the air filter in the oil. So that's the engine service done, the cutter deck is all done. And, a couple more bits and that's it. Put that cover back on the other side, mustn't forget that. Right, next video you'll see, we're now going to, while this is hot, we're going to change the oil and filter on this old pet of diesel. You may enjoy that. Back in a mo. Bye bye for now.